All right, it is Wednesday, June 24th, and we are live at this Fans View Wednesday edition. We have Carl, John, Lauren, and Anthony. Welcome back, Anthony, and myself. And I believe we are going to wrap up number 17 and move on to number 18. Correct, John?
Yes, we are.
All
yes,
right.
We are.
What you
Not
got?
if you go by the script, though.
Plus, we got baseball back too. That's big too. But 17 was we had a good competition there at 17. Howard Carmichael ended up winning the Hall of Famer with 223 votes. Rod Brindamore was second with 95 votes, and Scott Rohn was third with 38 votes. Brindamore just missed out on our poll, and he just missed out this weekend or tonight for the Hockey Hall of Fame as well, unfortunately. Yes. But he's a Hall of Famer in our hearts. And tonight we got
Hall of Famer.
Oh, absolutely. We got a nice matchup tonight with number 18 with the Phillies, John Vukovic. For the Eagles, we got Jeremy Macklin. For the Flyers, we have Mike Richards. For the Sixers, we have Shake Milton. And as Lauren's advertising already for us, for the outsider, we have Peyton Manning. I think he's done a little bit of things in his career, but we'll see. We got some fan favorites here in Philadelphia right at the moment for 18 as well, going up against them. So a couple World Series champions with Vukovic and a Wall of Famer, and captain with Mike Richards, and Jerry Macklin was a first round pick. So, Mario, who do you have?
I'm going Vuk.
You going Vuk? All right.
Yeah. That was a pretty easy one for me.
Well, there you go. He's the heart of Philadelphia. He was Phillies baseball.
Yep.
So there's nothing wrong there.
Yep.
Carl, who do you have?
I'm going off course. 1-8.
Ooh.
Peyton Manning.
Wow.
Okay.
Hot damn.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going outside the city. Sorry, guys.
Wow.
Dad, who would you have picked if Peyton wasn't in it?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
That's why she's here.
Well, I thought about the same thing for myself.
Right.
Vuk was loved. He was one of them cool kind of guys. But did he really wear it best?
Right.
Matt, coaches still wear it as a coach too, so he was a pretty good coach.
I just
shaped a lot of baseball in Philadelphia.
I just look at Peyton and what he what he did in football, and since we what's it been 2 weeks now, 3 weeks that we brought the outsider in. Hopefully this is the last time I have to go outside Philadelphia.
All right.
I said I was sorry. Does that count?
I know you did.
No need to be sorry. It's your vote.
It's your vote. I mean, we got somebody else going to be going that way too. Lauren, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Peyton Manning.
All right. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Come on, do it.
Well, this is hard for me in general because I'm not allowed to vote because it's not the person on this list. But
no, do the write-in.
What? You're not allowed to write
in.
We already said we're not allowed to do that.
Listen, I make the rules around here. It's fine.
There you go.
Anyway, so you're not allowed to write in. But number 8, huh?
Somebody else might do it if you mention it.
No, they won't do this. Number 18 for sure for me growing up was Andy Van Slyke by far. That obviously not Philadelphia, but in Pittsburgh.
Well, he played for the Phillies.
That's number 18 by far. You see that all around Pittsburgh. That's the number. So, but with the list we have, I guess I'm going with Peyton Manning.
There we go.
You guess.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, John.
But
you're up.
Vance Lake was a Philly player as well. So,
Mhm.
Was he here for like a week and a half?
well, I was going to say 4 days, but it's okay. He still is here. He still is here. It was still in the state.
So I need you to clarify, because we're getting a lot of crap on the board about it being Philly sports, and we get all that. You know what I mean? But we brought this other category in, so I just want you to explain that a little bit. Take a minute to explain that.
Well, we brought it in to open up the horizons for everybody. Plus, all the opponents play here in Philadelphia as well, so it's still technically who were best in Philadelphia. It's not too far, and it's just other people have liked it as far as asking about it. That have other when we do the polls, they put names in there as write-ins. So we figured let's do it. We listen to our viewers.
That's another dimension.
It helps out. We're extending it to NASCAR. Get the NASCAR people into it. It's fun. It all makes us have conversation. And it helps. We learn sports a little bit more with the numbers, and you learn to appreciate people a little bit more.
Well, no one's stopping anyone from voting for those Philadelphia people. So everyone that doesn't like it,
You can take it away.
you can still vote for them. So
Also, there's going to come a time where you don't have 4 numbers for all 4 sports.
Correct.
So
As we get
that's
more higher numbers.
right.
Yep, and that's part of it, and plus, it's we're not, we're all Philadelphia, but there's a lot of viewers here that aren't from Philadelphia as well. That we're going off of as well. So it helps, and plus, like I said, it's interesting to see how we as Philadelphia stand up to the rest of the numbers as well. Just like we were able to win, 18. It's all good. I think even 17 we won as well. So, it's just a different aspect to the show, and hopefully more people like it than not. So it's
we're really getting beat up. Maybe I'm paying closer attention because I can actually see the board tonight. but I'll put it in Philly terms. We're getting our ass kicked because it's outside Philly. So I don't know if they want to kick our ass or they want to vote for who wore it best. But they're not interested in the outsider. So it's been a couple 2-3 weeks, and now all of a sudden it's,
I think because we got 3 show members voting for somebody outside Philly. I think that's
the number this week is a number that with all due respect is bigger than all those other numbers, so they don't like that because he's not from Philadelphia. So all you have to do is vote for the other. You just have to vote for the other people, and then you're good to go.
That's why Philadelphia's got to step up and vote Philadelphia. Vote your guy.
If you don't want the outsider to win, start campaigning against them.
Right.
So
it's we were just trying to it's hey, we're all Philly. All of us are Philly. We're just trying to add a little something to it. The 18 is a cool thing because it just so happens to be one of Lauren's favorite players. And I saw there was a comment there, Team Henderson, from John Dunn. He's always got a way of, putting words together.
Poking the bear.
Poking the bear, exactly. Yeah. And Brian Brown, all he wants to do is kick Lanny McDonald's ass for not picking, Brian Propp and or Rod Brindamore. It's a bad situation, but I think Clarkie used up all his bullets getting his boy Eric Lindros in the Hall of Fame. So it's going to be a while, before you see another flyer. Pure and simple.
Exactly.
I'm not a Lenny McDonald fan, but I mean, how did he get that job? you know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a lot of players that don't belong there that are there, but it's unfortunate, you know.
Right.
So no, we're not going back, Michael Taylor. We started it at 17. Is that when we started
I
it,
believe it
John?
was 17. Yep.
Yeah.
17. So no, we're not going back. And Joe Montana would have not beat out Bobby Clark. There's no way
Right.
that would
No,
No.
Not at all. Nope.
you know.
no way.
You know. Maybe we should end the show early because we're really getting our ass kicked over this.
That's all right.
I think this is pretty funny.
I got
Good.
big shoulders. We can handle it.
This is good. You know,
Yeah. It's all good.
this is good. This is
That's
good.
Yeah. But
But
no,
Dad, I'm certain if you were giving away a Peyton Manning autograph,
They'd be all in.
they'd be sharing the hell out of that.
Yeah.
right. They'll be liking that.
You kidding me? They'd be on the doorstep.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
No, it's all fun. I'm glad I'm glad to see the partisan here. It's good. I like it.
Right.
I like it. It's
And
good.
And like I said, this is a number that we could possibly lose, but but I think Philadelphia's strong enough. We hang together. We can still pull this out. Vuk and Richards have got pretty good strong pull in from the votes that we've had.
Wait till we get to Johnny Unitas next week for 19. Holy
Right.
cow!
Yeah.
Oh baby!
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a couple coming up.
baby.
With the outsider votes that you're gonna have, but we're fully strong. We're good. But in saying that, my vote, I'm going Vukovic as well. Being my Philly guy, you gotta stay strong.
Attaboy.
Vuk was the heart and soul of Philadelphia. As between himself, was he the greatest player? No, but he did what he had to do. He was Philadelphia. He mentored everybody coming up through the system. Everybody revered him. He taught the baseball Philly way. Why
do you think that is, John? What if you could sum it up? What do you think that why do you think that is? What is it?
Well, he's that Philly tough. He wasn't the greatest. He had to work for everything. So he wasn't the flashy guy that had all the talent in the world, but
right.
And that it was easy for him to do it.
Right.
He was a grinder.
He worked hard in his craft.
Right, and he had to work for everything that he earned, and that is a good person for a coach, because that way you're not going to always have Bryce Harper's that you're going to be coaching every day. You're not going to have Mike Trouts that you're coaching every day. You're going to have to take the John O'Briens of the world and make them, to make your team great. And that's what he taught. He knew what he had to do, and that's what you need, and that's what Philadelphia respects. I think that's part of what makes him, beloved here in Philadelphia. From him and Larry Bowa were the two guys that were the heart and soul, for teaching the young guys how to play here in Philadelphia. So
as Joe Stinger called them, blue collar players.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
You don't see that. You don't see much of that today, right?
No. Nope. He made the last out of the Rick Wise no-hitter, snagging the ball from Pete Rose.
Which that just was that yesterday?
The anniversary?
That?
Yep. 1971.
No-hitter and 2 home runs.
Right. Rick Wise. You're not going to see that too many times as a pitcher. And it was funny because, he was Vukovic was Pete Rose's teammate when they won the championship in the Reds in 75, and then he was the champion, teammate again in 80 when the Phillies won with Pete Rose. So, little intricacies of baseball where how he stole his, Pete Rose was trying to break up the no-hitter, and Vukovic, right. Stole it from him. It's he's a true Philadelphian. So
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
so
All right. Well, the Phillies even have a trophy named after them, correct? That they give out every year.
Yeah, I believe they do for the Heart and Hustle with
Right. Yep.
Yep.
Very.
So
Very
so yeah, that's all you need to know. You know, it's
Yep.
he's Philadelphia. So you know, was he the greatest player? No, maybe not. But you know, he molded a lot of other players into being great. So that you know, and coaches wear the numbers for baseball. So you know, when you see 18, and he's a Hall of Famer. So yeah, he's definitely deserving.
Couldn't explain it any better. Thank you, Johnny.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Gotta take our Philly loyalties.
There you go.
So speaking
And we
of
got
baseball,
we got baseball back.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Yes,
so
we
a
do.
week from today, the spring training round 2 gets underway. Is that correct?
Yep, July 1st.
And they're moving that up here.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be it's gonna be between here, and they're gonna have 60 players, so it's gonna be here in Lehigh Valley
Right.
for at least at the moment, that's where it's gonna be going up to Lehigh Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be it should be fun. I think it's gonna help the Phillies. I mean, they got a tough schedule, playing the teams that they're gonna have to play. You know, baseball is gonna be fun if you know, as long as we can have the virus hold off and not mess anything up. It's going to be a fun season because every game is going to be like a playoff game, a short 60 games and 60 games, and I think 67 days or something like that. It's
Wow.
you know, it's going to be
That's a lot of baseball.
That is.
Yes, it
That's.
is.
I mean,
lot of
that's
baseball.
tough.
You know, and that's it's going to be you know, you're playing our division 10 times each, and then the American League East, we're playing them 4 times each. So I'm guessing that it's going to be a 2-2 home and away schedule whenever that breaks out. So you know, we don't have any cupcakes on our schedule. It's going to be tough.
So I guess there's a and I don't apologize if I missed some of this, but
You didn't.
I mean, there's a bunch of questions obviously going into it. Like, you know, for example, if you're Toronto,
yeah,
where's Toronto playing? Are they playing in the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium? Are they playing somewhere else?
That's the name right at the moment.
What are they doing? And then separately, and I know we'll get to it, but like some of those rules, I don't know if you guys had a chance to read them. I don't know if they're going to just give big fines or what, because I don't see players not spitting or, you know, the one thing was for the, you know, if you're a player at bat or a pitcher, if you usually spit on your hands or something like that, you're not allowed to do that. However,
and even just like wiping your brow for
right,
you know,
so you are allowed to have a wet rag in your back pocket, but the umpires are allowed to check the rag whenever they want to make sure that only water is on the rag and it's not some other substance.
Who would do something like that, Anthony?
Right. Why would they do that? You know, and everything other than bubble gum, they've sort of, you know, banned.
Right.
You know, and these are smaller things. Like if it's back, that's great. But I just don't know if those guys who've been doing that for the last 20 plus years can just stop doing that all of a sudden. It's kind of part of the routine. So.
And then what happens? Because, like, I know, like, with you, when we see somebody out that you know, you immediately want to go up to them and shake their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So what will happen? I mean, are they going to get fined the first couple games if a guy spits or, a pitcher, you know, licks his hands and then touches the ball? Like, what will happen?
Yeah, I don't know the exact rules. I don't know if they're going to get fines and then after a while they'll just stop them. But it's more, you know, it's not like it's like, you know, tobacco where you just don't want guys to use tobacco because it's a bad influence. This is like a thing where it'll get people sick. So I feel like you have to be proactive about it, but I don't know what the restrictions will actually be. What can they actually enforce? Are they just going to say, hey, stop spitting? Or like, are you like out of the game? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like there's got to be a little bit of leeway in the beginning because
Right.
it's a whole new thing for folks.
Yeah,
It
and
is.
in Korea with the baseball, it's the same thing, that they're not allowed to spit either. But supposedly, players do, obviously, because it's just out of habit, and I guess they just kind of, hey, watch that, don't do that again.
Right. Right. Do they immediately throw the baseball out if the pitcher accidentally licks his fingers and then touches it? Do they get rid of the ball?
Well, that was what they were saying. They have to actually, they have a system now that they have to use bleach and rubber pellets to wash the balls, and then somebody's got to actually dry the balls, because you can't let it air dry, because then it deforms the baseball. So,
well, John, what I was hearing yesterday when they were talking about having the Iron Pigs as where the taxi squad guys go, obviously the mini spring training or whatever they have, it's just going to be sort of inter squad games. So you don't have the same juice that you would normally have. But say someone is throwing batting practice to whoever, and he throws them 40 balls, whatever it is, that same instructor has to go pick them up, has to go have those balls cleaned, and then there needs to be someone else pitching to the next person. So it's just these are all great things to figure out, and you thought that they might not come back, so it's great that they are. But even myself, I'm like, how the heck are they going to be able to pull all that stuff off? Because the players, the number one thing they say, obviously they care about money and all that other stuff, but the number one thing they say is they want to be healthy. They want more testing. They want all that stuff. Well, cleaning of the balls and social distancing and all that goes into it. I hope they could pull it off. It would be fantastic if they could pull it off properly, because it's just a lot of restrictions.
Oh, it is. And like I said, it's going to be a fun season as long as we can have it, have the season play out the way that it is. It's, 60 games, you can't have a streak,
so
a streak at all.
If you're playing 60 games in 67 days, who do you think is going to have the hardest time player-wise? What position?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much the same as what they do normally, because it's 162 and 180 days. So you're pretty close to the same number of days the way baseball is, but you're always going to have your catchers, because
that was my thought.
Use some more catchers.
Because especially in our situation, if JT decides to play, he's a guy that you're not going to want out of the lineup. So it's going to be good in a way, because we have, like I said, that the DH might help us this year. We're going to be able to have Alec Boehm come up, and you got Jay Bruce to be able to do that. But a guy like JT Realmuto can be a DH as well, to keep his bat at least in the lineup. And
so, did they expand the roster?
They have. It's going to be, I believe it's 30 games, Anthony. If you've got the
I think there's I think it's 30, and then after you hit a certain amount of games, it goes down a couple more players, and then by the time you get to a month in or whatever it is when you're supposed to be rocking and rolling, it goes down to the normal 25, 26 or whatever. Now, I don't know how that works for the playoffs. I don't know how any of that works, because I didn't get a chance to look at all that. But the one thing that is interesting with this compared to the other sports, what were the Nationals last year, 18 and 31? People always point out. So, baseball was set up to have 160 games, whatever, so you can figure out who's really good or who's not. So, if you're the Pirates or the Orioles or the Marlins or something, if you can get on a good streak and get yourself in, I mean, you got a best chance you've ever had to win, because it's a short period, sprint, and you got to be ready to go. And the other thing that's crazy is, God forbid you're one of these players that are let's pretend, God forbid, Garrett Cole got sick. You're out 2 days, I think they said, at your own hotel in a mini quarantine, and then you go 14 days in the regular quarantine. Well, at that point, you got partial of the season. 12 seasons. Right. So if anyone
20% of the season gone.
Right. So it's just, I think whoever wins, and I will say the one thing, I do think whoever wins, it should be considered that that they won. I know a lot of people, if your team doesn't win, you're not going to think it's legit. But for those guys playing,
honestly, it's essentially more legit because this is probably going to be one of the toughest seasons these guys have ever played.
You got to be ready to go.
Right, you have to be ready to go. You're not in your natural, normal routines because they've taken so much away from you. You're not playing with fans. You know what I mean? You're just this. If anything, whoever wins this year, I feel like there's no difference than any other year because you're doing so much more than you normally would. You didn't have a proper spring training. You got pulled from spring training. Now you got to go back to spring training, but it's not at your spring training home. It's at your regular stadium or a minor league stadium. I think so many other things.
And I think it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, a lot of the last couple of years, especially, myself, obviously, like in a sort of a smaller market team, but in general, everyone always complains that everyone's just out there hitting home runs and doing all that sort of stuff. Well, this year you're going to every single run, every single bat counts. So people are going to be bunting and stealing and getting over so that they could win 1-0 because every single game matters. So it's going to be a lot of fun if they can actually pull it off to watch some exciting games because every single game counts.
Right. And it's going to change baseball, like you said, because of the rule changes this year. If the game goes to extra innings, you're going to have a guy on second base to start the game. And that's going to lead to, like you said, more bunts, and then more intentional walks on top of it if they get the one out and they'll load the bases.
The physical level might not be as big as the stress level because I think the stress level for everybody to do all the right things.
Well, and that's another thing. Are they going to be more focusing on that?
There's not going to be a batting order. There's going to be a checklist.
Right.
For no seeds, no spinning, no this, no that. But hey, we got the best question on the board right there. Where are we tailgating on opening day?
Yeah.
So we need to address that. We need to take a poll. We need to take a poll. Get all our outsiders together and find out where we're at tailgating.
We were already talking about that. We got the burgers and the beer already taken care of, and
we just need the place.
I don't think finding a place will be hard.
We were talking about it earlier today at work. They were thinking about potentially opening up the stadium on one of those second games, whatever, and putting it on the big screen, which would be nice for for people to watch. But yeah, I just
you mean in Reading?
Yeah, yep. So that would be nice if they could actually pull that off. People would enjoy that because that's at least some sense of normalcy. You're at least watching a baseball at a baseball stadium.
Right.
Absolutely.
We might even have a. Oh, sorry, Lauren.
No, that's okay. The only thing I was going to say was I feel like it's kind of important to at least get some type of baseball and all the sports for that matter back this year. Solely because you don't know when a vaccine's going to come out. You don't know when you're really going to be able to get back to normal. So let them get everything worked out this year. Figure out what works, what doesn't work. So that way next year they can kind of go into it with a much better plan so they can start to bring fans back. They'll know what works and what doesn't work for the players themselves and the personnel around that. And that'll allow them to work all this out this year. And maybe they can't bring all the fans back to full capacity, but because they have a good handle on the game and the players and those folks, they can figure out how to bring the fans back or how to better enhance the sport based on this year. So I would rather not pause this year. I would rather use this year as a learning experience to set us up for the best we possibly can be given the circumstances for next year.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also wonder, you heard about some of these NBA guys, at least having the option to not play if they don't want to play because of what's going on. I'm imagining in any of the leagues, any of those guys could say, I don't feel comfortable playing, and they wouldn't have to play. You really can't force them. But I haven't heard anything about any MLB guys saying that they didn't want to play.
Well, and that's fascinating to me because they wouldn't agree to any proposal. But then the players. But then the league says, let us know if you're not playing, and no one says a word.
Well,
what just happened? The principal said you got to play, so they said, okay.
They don't really have much of a choice. I don't know.
No, I think it's a little more strategical. for them. That is what they're saying for. Got a little.
Yeah, why are you echoing? Oh,
I don't know. We got supposedly they were letting it go as far as they could so that they can force the owners to open up their books to for the negotiations for next year or in 2021.
well, I was going to say what happened, because it looked like they were making no progress, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Well, it was the ultimate the 12th hour. You're the 24th hour. You sit there.
Well,
you're forced.
You had that checklist. You know what I mean? And you went back and forth negotiating. He said, "Nope, we're not doing that. What do you got next?" Then the players, then the owners, and finally it came down to the commissioner saying, "Okay, we're gonna play. We're gonna play this 60-game schedule. Period. This is what we got."
Well, that and plus this was the drop deadline as far as being able to keep it in the thing, and that and like Stephanie said, it's also to keep the grievance open. They didn't want to have that clause in there where they couldn't have the lawsuit if they needed to for the grievance for not negotiating fairly. So it's all bargaining chip. I'm
just keeping my fingers crossed that this can actually happen, because locally, they've talked about some of these high school kids going back. They might not even be able to go back to school in the normal way. They might have to go every other day or go online.
Right.
A lot of the sports here have started to meet the coaches, and they're talking about, well, you can practice with your team, but we don't necessarily have a schedule for you to play. The NFL is already potentially going to be pushed back. So it seemed like the MLB was so far away of it. Now they're so close to being able to play, but you see the other leagues having some issues to the point where it's like, did we go through all of this, and is it actually going to happen at this point, or is it not going to happen because it looks like every other sport is having a problem?
Right, and that's like you said, that's what was the disheartening part of the whole going back and forth in negotiations, because it's like they aired their dirty laundry out there for everything, and like you said, it may not have happened. They could have just did this in the back doors and just said, okay, this is what we're going to do, just get it done, and agree with each other, and then have it ever taken care of, and then maybe the medical field says, hey, you're not allowed to play, and it's out of their hands. Hey, we agreed, we wanted to go and do it, but we got it back. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we're playing.
Keep our fingers crossed that we got baseball next week.
And we'll be tailgating. I got burgers making already, fresh homemade ones. So we're good. We're stocking up.
I think the biggest question, and I put that picture up this morning so innocently, really, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Other than being hungry, you were hitting. Other than being hungry, everybody wants to know what the hell's on top of the burger.
That's the secret pork roll,
right? No, it's the secret sauce.
Oh, the sauce too. Yes,
secret sauce.
That's another O'Brien specialty.
Gino's got nothing on you, pal.
No, they do not. Nope. I can do a little barbecuing if I need to.
There you go. There you go.
So certainly not to bring the party down, but the Hockey Hall of Fame announced their selections today, and collectively across the board, all the people that they chose. I'll just do it once. Who? I don't know a single name on that list.
What's the names?
No, I don't know. Kevin somebody with a weird last name.
Carl, who's on the list?
It was Doug Wilson, Kevin Lowe, Jason Ingela, and who'd I miss? One other player. Who?
Saint somebody. I don't know.
That was the girl from Team Canada. That was the woman from Team Canada. Yeah, we may have lost all our hockey fans early on because they wanted to beat up Lanny McDonald like really, really bad. You know,
I was liking it because they were beating us up and took
Mary and Hossa. Kevin Lowe, 6 Stanley Cups. So thank you very much, Wayne Gretzky. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, there's a couple.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah,
never,
it's,
literally not heard of one
Yeah,
of
you
them.
did.
I think Jack summed it up earlier on. You know, if it wasn't the worst, you know, crop of Hall of Famers, it's the second worst. So, you know, it was a tough list.
Yeah.
You know.
We had what four Philadelphia guys there? Couldn't
Yeah.
get one.
Right.
You know. Yeah, hey, you know what? They're probably all deserving. We're just all bitter because, you know, Rob Brindamore didn't get in. You know, some guy named Brian
Roenick.
Propp didn't get in. You know, some guy named Jeremy Roenick didn't get in. Oh no, yeah. By the way, they're all Flyers.
Right.
Go figure.
Ken Hitchcock.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Former Flyer coach Mike Keenan. Throw him in the pot too.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
He only lost in the Stanley Cup Finals to that Wayne Gretzky.
So, is the Hockey Hall of Fame voting similar to baseball, where you only have a certain amount of time to be selected and then you're off forever?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
No, I don't. It doesn't work like that with hockey.
Okay.
Because I know Brian's name's been brought up for quite a long time.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure because there seemed to be an extra sort of big push for him this year, and I wasn't sure if that was his last year.
Well, because it's, you know, as much as everybody loves Kevin Lowe and his 6 Stanley Cups and Jason Engel, it's a weak class. It's a very weak class, and you know, this would have been a great year for a prop. It would have been an awesome year. You know, not that you're trying to sneak them in. His numbers speak for themselves, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? You know. So, but it's very political, you know. And if Jack was here, Jack would go off on it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these guys are selected by a group of people that, what do they know? They're all the same though. They're all baseball. You know, if you're a writer and you're a part of that association, you get a vote.
Well, yeah, it's all a scam. Like, you know, these baseball writers, what did they do? You know, because the guy was mean to you means you're not going to let him in. That's ridiculous.
Right. Because I wrote for a newspaper, I now get to vote on whether this guy gets to go in the Hall of Fame.
And why is there also a deadline that you have to make it by a certain deadline? Like, that makes no sense. If they're good enough,
right,
let them in. Like what? That's one of the smaller problems with baseball, just showing you that they are so behind in the times that they can't.
That you expire after a certain period.
Expire. You're not allowed to continue.
Right.
Well, even if you don't, even in your first year, if you don't make it to 5%, you're off immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I think
is that what it is?
Wow.
There's like a small number that you gotta get that number to even make it to the next year.
Right.
I would be fine. I would be fine if baseball, if certain guys didn't make it, but if you know, don't throw them off after whatever year. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Is there a reasoning for the time frame?
I don't know. They're just you know, living in 1925. I don't know. I don't know why.
Just trying to clear space on the ballot, I guess, for, you know, other people, so there's not 35 guys on the ballot.
But it's not like they're voting in 10, 15 guys at a time that they need to clear space. I mean, one guy was going in this year, 2 guys, whatever it was. But
well, they also take it. I don't know. I'm not saying hockey or any other sport doesn't take it seriously, but those writers and those guys take it almost way too seriously. You know, you got to be like the perfect player, the perfect person, all that to get in.
It's just like the guy who didn't vote for Derek Jeter because he didn't want him to get in unanimously because he thought that only belonged to Mariano Rivera. I mean, what an asshole.
Yeah.
Tell us how you really feel, Lauren.
That's part of proving the fact that it's such a joke.
Right.
You know he belongs in, but you're not going to vote for him just so he doesn't get in unanimously.
Right. And to have it, the only one to be unanimous was Rivera, and he was a relief pitcher.
Right.
You know, where Jeter plays every day and does everything. Yes, Rivera deserves it as well, but you got a guy that does it every day.
And unfortunately, in every sport, there's going to be guys like that that are right there that could go either way, and they're not going in. We watched over Christmas the thing on Dave Parker. He got hurt a bunch. The whole cocaine stuff. He's not in. Al Oliver's numbers better than a lot of Hall of Famers. He's not in. There's a ton of hockey guys that aren't in that should be in. It's just I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, no, it's all.
Man, you drop one curse word and everybody gets excited.
Yes, Wally Pope, Lauren is on fire. He started all this by wearing number 18 jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Just
keeping it real.
thought I'd get it out of the closet.
That's right.
You went at the beginning of the show, getting kicked off, to now they're back to being in love with you.
Wow. Story of my life.
Well, that's how sports is, actually.
It's the Chase Utley effect.
Yep. So NHL and NBA, they're still set to do their thing, right?
They are.
Have they picked the
No.
cities yet?
Don't even ask. Another week, no cities.
I thought they said Vegas and something
Toronto.
else. Yeah, what happened to that?
Well, it's supposed to be 4.
Oh,
I don't know how Toronto's going to work because you're still not allowed to cross the border. So how's that going to go?
Well,
If you have a work visa
You can.
to come into the U.S., you can.
Okay.
and you're going to have to stay there. You're not coming back and forth.
You can't go back and forth. But if you have a work visa, you can come across.
So
So they'd have to go to Toronto and stay there.
stay there. That doesn't make any sense.
for how long? Forever.
Yes, they can never come back.
they can only come back as a
No,
loser.
for, I guess however long the season is, right? Couple months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a week.
Do they get to
It
bring
is
their
a-
families with them?
But
They
then
do
what
have-
happens? What was that?
They do have a casino up there, though.
That is true. That is true. But so when you get to the playoffs, aren't they going to have to eventually meet somewhere?
Well, that's where they're meeting.
Yes.
Minor details.
Yeah, but where they meet? You're meeting in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, if you got
yeah,
Can they come back
obviously
then?
Well, last week it was Vegas and Nashville. Am I correct? Weren't they the two cities that supposedly were all?
I think so.
Right. Yeah.
They were the two cities, but Michael Taylor is saying it's narrowed down to last weekend. They are picking the final cities this weekend.
Gotcha.
So
I'm like, wait until the last minute to let a city know.
Well, I think again, it's all viruses are spiking and this and that, so
Sure.
they gotta
Well,
I
also
think they would have had Vegas as limited, but then they had a little bit of a spike up.
I wonder if they can
Vegas.
change them too. Like, what if Vegas opened up, the numbers are through the roof? Can they switch it to another one of those other cities?
That's I think that's part of the issues. I don't know that they can.
Because I feel like Vegas. I saw the other day they got like the casinos open. It looks like it's free
Business as
for
usual.
all out there.
Right, and that's part of the problem.
Right.
As far as once they wanted to keep them in a bubble atmosphere, and that's why I think baseball may have the harder challenge of it.
Right.
Since it's not going to be in the bubble like hockey or the basketball is going to be the easiest because they'll be able to keep it all in one localized area.
But it's
And
also
basketball-
outside.
Is basketball
Baseball is yes,
all still in Disney at this point? Is that still what's
Yeah.
happening?
yes, yep, yeah. And actually, I think either tonight or tomorrow is the deadline for players to say if they're going to be participating or not. And I know a couple. And one of the guys from the Lakers, he's not playing because of health issues with his son. So he won't be playing, one of their starters. So yeah, it's
It seems like
So,
only.
real quick, I don't want to.
Go ahead.
we got a guy on board. The NHL is down to Vegas, LA, and Chicago, and 3 in Canada, with special provisions for teams to enter and exit Canada. So, if he's got a handle on some insight here, Vegas, LA, and Chicago, and 3 teams in Canada. I kept hearing the 3 teams in Canada, but so hopefully by this weekend we'll know something more concrete.
Yep.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Anthony. Sorry about that.
No, I just didn't know. I mean, you heard, like I mentioned before, some of these basketball players, whether it's health reasons or social injustice reasons or whatever, not playing potentially. I just didn't know if anyone has heard anything in any of the other sports, particularly COVID. Like, is any of these guys going to say I'm not playing? If Ovechkin or one of these big names says they don't want to play because of COVID, which I don't think would happen, what happens? I mean,
I think hockey, I understand your question, but I think hockey players, they're they're from a whole different group of guys. I mean, they'll go back out there if their arm's falling off. So I can't imagine that a virus is going to stop any of these guys.
Yeah.
But what happens? We just saw this thing with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sounds like most of the team has it.
Right.
That's just, obviously you want every one of these sports to play, but what the heck do you do if you're in the middle of playing? You're in the playoffs. That happens to that team. Then what? You forfeit because everyone's sick?
Well, you might have to, because they had what was it? The ladies soccer team from I believe Orlando. They end up having to forfeit the season because of issues. So yeah, I mean it could come down to, especially a hockey and a basketball team, because they're already straight to the playoffs. So it's not like a baseball team where you can maybe forfeit a couple of games, or they are also going to have more players available that they can hopefully still be able to pull.
Well, and what I heard from some of the people that I know about, the Phillies, they it's not like it's just you or me cleaning up your apartment with a couple Lysol wipes. Like, the Phillies had that place to the point where they thought you couldn't have cleaned it any better than it was.
Right, and still got it.
Still got it. So they don't even understand.
Well, that's because somebody coming in with it.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying there are always going to be, they said on average it takes about 1,500 people to pull together a game of a sport. Right. There's going to be writers there somewhere. There's going to be maids and clean up people, and if it's 1,500 people, I guess you hope for the best. I don't know.
Well, you just have to hope that people play by the rules. They don't, you got to trust these guys to not go out, gallivanting where they're not supposed to be. Because that must have been what happened to these Phillies guys. One guy went somewhere he wasn't supposed to, or didn't have a mask on. He gets it, brings it to the facility. Now 11 more people have it.
Well, that's what the tough part is. I mean, you got young guys in their 20s for the most part. They haven't played baseball in a really long time, or whatever sport. They're going to go play. You don't think at the end of the day that they want to go out and have a drink with their friends, especially if some of these states are fully open.
Right.
So if you're in Tampa Bay or Miami or wherever you're playing, and at the end of the day, someone wants to go to a bar that's open, you're not going to go. I mean, I don't see those 20-year-old guys not going. I just don't see that.
Yeah.
I think that's also.
I hope they don't. I just don't know how they can monitor it.
Well, I think they might have to just adjust their schedules as far as travel, especially being a little more closer, get them there closer to, and then play your game, and then with the American League teams, when the Phillies play the American League teams, you're only there one night because you're going to play 2 games, back to back, most likely. So you only have to worry about one night, and then they'll probably travel home after the game, the second night. So
and when are they supposed to announce the theoretical schedules? Did they say anything yet?
No, I haven't seen anything yet about that. That'll be the interesting thing as well, to see how they're going to handle that.
It might be fun to play teams that you don't normally play. Obviously, you're going to play your division, but the Phillies might play the Yankees a lot more, or the Red Sox.
Well, they're going to play them 4 times.
Yeah.
They're going to play them 4 times. They're going to play the Red Sox 4, Tampa 4 times, and Baltimore 4 times. The whole American League East, they'll play 4 games against them and 10 games against our division, each team. So they get our 60 games in. So it's, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see who gets the extra game with the 10 games. I guess they're going to play 5 and 5 for
right.
For it, but it'll be interesting to see how, like I said. But I think that's what they'll have to do with the travel. It's going to be kind of, maybe rent the whole hotel and have a hotel, opened up for the players, and that's the major league team. So like every team that goes to New York is going to go to that one hotel, whether it's the Phillies or the Braves or whoever.
So Joe Stinger and Brian Brown bring up a good point. Harper's wife's expecting. So how's that all going to work? He's not going to be able to be with her the entire time she's pregnant while they're playing?
Well, okay. So this has come up constantly.
Right.
And I don't quite understand the issue here, because if the season was happening, there's no COVID-19.
She could visit, though.
The guy's still on the road sometimes.
Yeah, she can visit.
She could visit, though.
Right. Okay. So he can't necessarily be with her during her pregnancy, which, okay, I can understand that's hard sometimes. But when it comes time for her to have the baby, they're going to call him and say, get your ass here. He's going to get there. They're going to test him at the hospital before he can go inside. And he's there.
But then it's going to be another 3 weeks, basically, before he can come back and play.
Right. But, I mean, that's just going to have to be part of it. I mean, he could technically go back to wherever he is and continue to be tested. I don't know that he necessarily has to quarantine for 14 days unless that's required.
It depends on what state you're in.
Back to play.
Okay, so I mean that's the nature of that whole situation. I mean, that would be for any guy. If some guy gets a call that his mother is dying or something and he has to go there, the same thing happens.
Well, true, and then that's what with Zach Wheeler's got that issue right now.
Sure.
As far as he's got his wife's due in a month.
Right.
So
hockey and basketball are obviously in the playoffs. So I would imagine most people would at least consider that a legit championship because they played a majority of the season. They're in the playoffs. For baseball, obviously, other than your own team winning, well, majority of people think that it is a legitimate World Series and a legitimate title. If you're the Baltimore Orioles and you win the World Series, you're going to be pretty excited because you haven't done that in a very long time. But does the rest of the country find that legit because you had only that 60 games?
No, there'll be an asterisk next to it. There has to be.
Yeah, the hometown's going to obviously appreciate it, but yeah, like I said, for everybody else, it's going to be you want it because this person got sick or whatever. They'll blame something.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to watch. For lack of a better term, I think baseball season is going to be pretty much a season on steroids because you're going to have to be on your game every single game.
Oh, absolutely.
So
every game's a playoff game.
Yeah.
Because only 10 teams make the playoffs, so you're going to have 5 teams from the National League and 5 from the American League. So
you just better hope your pitchers are on and no one really gets hurt because if your pitchers aren't on and they're getting hurt, then you are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, they already got the odds out for the over-unders for this year for the National League East. The Nationals and the Braves are 33.5 is their over/under. They're the lead for the National League East, and the Mets are 32.5 games, and the Phillies are fourth place with 31.5. So it's all close. They're within 2 games from first to second. So as far as the over/under there from the Vegas odds, but it's. It shows how especially with 60 games, you're not going to be able to pull away too much unless you have a big winning streak or a losing streak here. So
Well, I think we can all agree that it's going to be for all the sports, for all the teams. Everything's going to be different. You know what I mean? You know, managing, playing. You know, it's all going to be different. And I don't care who you listen to. Everybody's got philosophies. Everybody's got a, well, this is going to happen. Well, maybe this will happen. I don't think anybody really knows for sure. No. I think there's a lot of what ifs right now.
Yeah.
A whole lot of what ifs.
Yep.
So
hopefully the what ifs are on our side and not on their side. Hopefully they got that all worked out.
I mean, the push is on because everybody wants sports back because that's our, that's where we go when we need to release, when we all want to come together, when we all want to, hang out and have a beer, you know what I mean? Or, tailgate, like none other. So this is what we're all, hoping for.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
No doubt.
If they can pull it all off, it would be amazing. All these sports.
Well, I think they're all just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best and seeing what happens.
It was what was it Friday, Saturday, whenever we heard about Friday, I guess or Thursday,
Friday.
The Phillies, all these teams shut down, and then a couple of days later, hey, we're back with baseball. I'm like, wow, you must know something. I don't know how the hell you're keeping everyone healthy.
Yep.
Well, I know this much. These players are well rested. They're hungry to play whatever sport it is. They're ready to go. So I think you're going to see some good action regardless of what sport it is. Because they've had a lot of downtime and I think they're tired of working out. Now it's now they want to play.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep.
Yep, exactly.
Oh. It's like
What do we got?
We are at 7:27. We got 3 minutes left. 2 minutes left, actually. So that kind of went by quickly, as it always does. So, shall we go ahead and do it?
Well, my takeaway would be Friday at 12 o'clock is the freezes will be lifted for baseball, so teams can talk to their free agents. So Phillies better go after JT Realmuto and get him locked up and give us a little bit more positive inspiration here going into the season and get the season going off to a good start. And also with the way the new rules are going to be in a 60-game schedule, I take my obligatory shot at Gabe Kapler. That I'm glad that we got Joe Girardi as our manager to handle all these decisions that we're going to have make and make the team great. So here we go, Joe. Bring us home a championship, please.
Yep. All right, Carl, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to go the hockey side of things, and it's great to see Oscar Lindblom back on the ice. He's finishing up his cancer treatments. So while we're all concerned with getting sports back up and running, this kid wants his normal life back.
Yeah.
And, he's back skating with his teammates, and it's just great to see. There's been a lot of support, for the past several months for him. So that's just awesome. And if that doesn't drive the Flyers home for a Stanley Cup, I don't know what can. So go Flyers.
There you go. Exactly. All right, Anthony, you're up.
Well, if we play baseball, that would be great. It's going to be July, and the Pirates are still in the race, so I feel good about that. And
all right, the show's over.
I think,
no more.
I think we got a chance. We just got to win a couple games. We got a chance. Just get us in the playoffs.
Just a few.
Just a few games.
Just a few.
Really, best I felt in July in a couple of years.
God.
He's going to be using that.
Pittsburgh used to win in like 35, 40 games.
Yeah, so perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right, Lauren, you're up. What do you got?
Do you guys remember a couple months ago when our biggest concern in the entire world was what was going to happen to the Philly Fanatic? Okay. Well, that date has come and gone, and no one has said a word. June 15th was the expiration date for the license, and I haven't seen one article, nothing. It's as if, who cares anymore? If that's what the new Fanatic looks like, that's what the new Fanatic looks like. So it's funny just to see the world. I mean, everybody was so concerned. We waited on the edge of our seats to see what that new Fanatic was going to look like, and now we don't even care if he's at the game or not, just as long as there's baseball.
By the way, he is, according to right before the show, all mascots are allowed to be at the games.
Yep.
I don't know what the heck they're going to do with no fans. They're not allowed on the field, so they'll just be roaming in empty stadiums.
That'll be great.
That'll be funny.
That costume is going to be looking good.
June 15th came, went, and
Got it.
I guess we're good to go with the Fanatic we currently have because there hasn't been a lawsuit or a court date set or anything of that effect. So long live the Fanatic.
All right. For me, I'm just hoping all the stars align and everything works out good and we're good to go with all this and nobody throws a wrench into anything. So with that, I will say see you next week on it'll be July next week. Our first show in July. We will be here July 1st, 6:30.
Our first day of baseball, right?
Oh, there we go. Well, so we'll be open. Maybe we should do remote show somewhere outside. We'll talk about that.
we tried that at Clearwater.
That wasn't planned. Well, actually, it kind of was planned, but
somebody forgot an iPad.
We ended up in a remote parking lot.
Well, maybe we can pick a different parking lot this time and invite people to come with us. So
there you go.
We'll see. Anyway, all right. Good show, guys. See you next week. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Yeah.